Jessii Vee, and I'm feeling very peachy today. Doesn't that mean like you're happy or something? Like if someone says, hey Jessii, how you feeling today? And I was like, oh, I'm feeling peachy. Doesn't that mean like happy? Like I don't really know actually. Anyways, as you can tell by the title of today's video, we're gonna be talking about Casper the Friendly Ghost, which might seem like a really random topic. I know it's a very old show, but trust me, the amount of creepy and dark and disturbing episodes there have been aired, it's crazy. I also feel like Casper is a character that everybody in the world knows. Even if you haven't seen the show, you know who Casper is. So as usual, today we're gonna be getting into the history, and then we're gonna be getting into the very disturbing episodes that I can't believe they actually showed to kids. So let's just jump right into this video. Casper was created in the late 1930s and was actually first a children's book before it was a TV show. And then in 1945, they came out with a cartoon called The Friendly Ghost. In the cartoon, Casper is a ghost child with a New York accent. He would prefer to make friends with people instead of scaring them, so he packs up his belongings and goes out into the world hoping to find friends. And that's why he's called Casper the Friendly Ghost, because he's not your typical evil, scary ghost. The rest of the ghosts really love scaring people, but he just like wants to make some buddies. He has a pretty simple personality and history, so there's not too much to go into when it comes to that. What I really want to talk about is a question that not many people have asked before, and that is, how did Casper die? You don't really hear about the character's backstory, and that's because his backstory is very tragic. I mean, logically, if Casper is a ghost, that means that at one point he was a human. He's the ghost of a child, so that means something tragic must have happened to him when he was alive. So I'm gonna tell you guys how Casper died. It's crazy. And when I watched this show as a kid, I just thought like, oh, Casper's always been a ghost. He just was born as a ghost, he's been a ghost, but no, he was actually a human child at one point. And of course they never talked about how he died in the TV shows or the movies because it's a kid's show. They don't really want to delve into that dark stuff. But the directors and producers have talked about it in interviews. So here it goes. Basically, Casper was born in the 1800s, and his mother actually passed away while she was giving birth to him. So he was raised by his father, and apparently his father was a really good man. He treated Casper really well, was a very loving father. He always wanted to make his own son happy and would basically do anything for him. Well, there was this one Christmas where Casper begged his father to buy him a sled. So, of course, because his father loved him so much, he went out and bought him a sled, and Casper was so happy and he went out sledding all day. Well, because he was out in the cold so often, Casper actually came down with pneumonia, and that's what ultimately killed him. As I've talked about so many times, the 1800s, kids got sick very often and medical care wasn't good at all. But Casper didn't end up moving on to the afterlife. Instead, he was kind of stuck in between as a ghost. And the reason he did that was because he didn't want his father to be alone, because his mother had already passed and his father was living in this big house by himself, so he thought, hey, maybe my spirit should linger here with my dad. Well, Casper's father was able to sense him around. He knew that Casper's spirit was still in the house, so he was a scientist and wanted to make Casper like a robot body that he could live in. But because he was making this strange robot contraption for his dead son, people in the town thought that he had gone insane, and he was actually taken to an insane asylum. So Casper was left alone in this big house without a mother or a father. So it's just a super tragic story, and it's no wonder they, chose not to include it in the TV series. But yeah, that is all about what happened to Casper. Now, if that isn't disturbing enough, they actually created some very disturbing and dark episodes that actually aired in real life. A lot of these episodes were banned or parents complained about them. In the very first Casper movie called The Friendly Ghost, there was this very disturbing scene that got a lot of backlash. So like I said, Casper was not like the other ghosts that he lived with. They wanted to scare people and he wasn't into that, so he packed his bags and went out to find friends. While he was on his journey to find new people, he ran into a bunch of different animals, and whenever he went up to one to say like, hi, wanna be my friend? They would get scared, they would run away screaming, they would say things like, oh no, it's a ghost. And and it really hurt Casper's feelings. No one wanted to come near Casper because they were afraid of him, which made him very, very sad. So this is where the very disturbing part comes in. He sees these train tracks and walks over to them and sits down. He basically hopes that a train will come along to take him out of his misery. And this was such an odd thing to put in the movie, showing Casper's depression, because kids saw Casper as being such a positive, happy spirit, so it was very weird for them to see him this way. Well, while he's waiting for a train to come while he's sitting on the tracks, he realizes, wait, I'm already dead. A train is not gonna do anything to me. And this makes him even more upset because he realizes he can't even escape the afterlife. So it's a very dark and sad episode, and I think it was eventually taken off the air entirely because of that. All right, let's move on to the next very disturbing film. It was a short film about Casper that aired in 1948 called There's Good Booze Tonight. And this movie starts off during midnight when all the ghosts are in the cemetery, and they're basically getting ready to go and scare people, because after midnight they have to go and like find people to like boo in front of. But as you guys know, Casper doesn't want to do that. He wants to make friends. He doesn't want to go and scare people. I feel like every episode has like the same premise, but like before, the animals keep running away from him. Well, there is one animal that seems to actually like him, and that is a small fox cub. Casper and this fox quickly become very close friends, and Casper names him Ferdy. But while they're playing a game of hide and seek together, hunters come and try to get Ferdy. They start chasing him around, eventually capture him, and Ferdy dies. And it's this horrible scene in the movie where Casper is holding this little tiny fox in his arms crying, and Casper's just breaking down because he lost the only friend he was ever able to make because everybody else was so afraid of him. So it's like this super sad scene that disturbed a lot of people. Casper's mourning his death, but then just before the episode ends, Ferdy actually turns into a ghost himself. And so they were reunited in the afterlife. Now they're both ghosts and they're able to be friends forever. So I guess it ends in sort of a good way, but the whole like movie itself was strange. All right, let's talk about the last very disturbing episode. This one was called Fright from Wrong, and it still has the same premise. Casper's a good ghost, but he lives with other ghosts who are not so good. They're kind of evil and they want to scare people. Well, the episode starts off with Casper playing with a bunch of birds. They're having fun. He's being so friendly to them, and the other evil ghosts see that and they're like, okay, Casper, you can't be friendly. You have to be evil. So the ghosts come up with this horrible plan to turn Casper evil. They try to force him to consume mean pills, but Casper refuses because obviously he doesn't want to become mean. He always wants to be friendly. But eventually they do force him to take these mean pills, and he turns into this creepy evil devil ghost. And now when this first aired, it really scared kids because obviously they're not used to seeing Casper turn evil. And at first the ghosts were so glad that Casper was finally evil and not friendly anymore. But then their plan actually backfired on them because Casper was so evil that he actually wanted to go and attack the rest of the ghosts. So they were like, oh no, we made him too evil, now he's coming for us. And the whole rest of the episode is so disturbing because Casper's going after them, trying to hurt them, attack them, decapitate them, burn them. Like, Casper is doing a whole bunch of violent stuff that you never see Casper do. And then what's even weirder is that at the end of the episode, Casper admits that he never actually took the mean pills and he was just doing that to teach the ghosts a lesson. What? So it was just a very bizarre episode, and I'm pretty sure they also had to remove that off the air because it was scaring too many little kids. But yeah, those are basically all the really dark episodes that aired about Casper, which really shocked people because it was such a positive show that those episodes just seemed very out of place. Now, if you guys know of any other really dark episodes that I did not mention, definitely comment them down below. But I really miss watching that show. That was like such a big part of my childhood. Anyway, so guys, I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!